This Theros-themed Warlock Patron pulls from the starlight and the shadows.
Today we're looking at the Nyxborn.
Welcome everyone, I'm Sean, this is Tony, and today we're going to be looking at the Warlock Patron, the Nyxborn from Christopher Savasco.
Now, this is a pretty cool class here with this thing, and it's neat because it goes in with a Theros theme.
Yeah, so basically the idea is that your patron is basically one of the gods that kind of delves into like the starlight and the shadows, and kind of has something to do with dreams and nightmares, and it kind of goes along in the description of the actual gods that you can pick. So there's a couple ones that you can pick from the Pantheon, or of course if you're homebrewing something, it'll kind of give you a little bit of background in case you need to make like a new entity or something like that.
Right, if you want to throw it into your own homebrew campaign that's not in Theros, that's totally fine. But this is an interesting one because it's more of a godly intervention as far as the Warlock as it is, I sold my soul to Asmodeus or something.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of a neat thing. It's kind of mixes it up too. We're so used to the Warlock Patron, having something holding over your head, where this more so is just kind of like something that kind of happens.
Right. So let's get into this. Yeah?
Yes.
All right. So the first thing here that they get is they get a new Warlock spell list, which is kind of cool. There's some new things in there.
Yeah, and some of the spells really you can kind of tell are very defensive, like Fairy Fire. They also get Create Food and Water. They get Moonbeam. So you kind of already get this established, defensive support kind of stuff along with this Warlock subclass.
And you get the Light Cantrip.
But yeah.
Kind of cool, right? But you also get something else at first level as well, and that is Immutable Will.
So this is pretty cool. So basically you now have advantage on saving throws against the Charmed condition, and you are immune to any spell or effect that would alter your form against your will.
This is kind of neat only because it kind of puts down that thing of mythical beasts and creatures and things like that. And you're not going to transform me because my god has touched me and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Show me on the doll where the god touched me. But at the same time, I really like the theme of this because it feels, I don't know, it just feels really solid to me.
Yeah. Again, kind of going into the whole like darkness and light thing, you really get this kind of tone that you're there and you're not going to get interrupted, and you're kind of like one with like the light and the shadow, and it's like a really cool thing that they kind of themed with the bonus spells and that first level ability.
Totally. Now you mentioned about the darkness and the shadows. That. Well, for my next trick. Nyx trick, get that? This is Nyx Step. So as a bonus action, you can fade into the starlight or the shadow until the start of your next turn. You can move through other creatures as if they were difficult terrain. Now you can't end your turn there because we all know what happens when you do that.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar, if like you're ethereal or something and you're kind of trying to end in someone's space, you'll take that 1d10 bludgeoning damage for every 5 feet that you're moved. And you can only do this once every rest. So it's a very interesting feature where, again, really into the flavor where you're kind of, voiding yourself into this lighter darkness, but also a very defensive feature. You are able to get away from certain enemies. You can avoid certain attacks and things like that. So it's like another, again, very defensive ability.
And this whole class kind of goes around a little bit of a defensive supporting kind of ability.
Yeah, this is true.
And you'll see why when we get to this next one. Now, this next one might take up a little bit of the screen.
We do warn you ahead of time.
And that is the Nyxborn Manifestations.
Yeah, so this is a little complicated, but nothing too over the top. So basically, you kind of invoke this trait whenever you summon a creature with a conjuration spell, use the awaken spell, or a lot of different other ways that you basically will make something alive.
Right, you bring a creature into being, and you can add one of these things. Okay, Sean, duck. Okay.
Now, it's really cool. So these are the 4 traits that you actually get to pick onto that thing that you're summoning.
Yeah, I mean, things like Chameleon Skin, where the creature has advantage on stealth checks. Things like magic weapons, which is always good.
Yes.
Because then you want those claws or whatever you summon to be magical with it. They can also get the Nyx Step, which is kind of cool.
Awesome.
And then a starlight form, which kind of gives you that radius of glowing or what have you. And it's really neat for doing things like summoning the Shadow Steed and stuff like that. So now it's got abilities.
And they mentioned that you can actually do this when you're using polymorph too.
Yeah.
If that's something you're able to do. So you can actually polymorph your buddy with an extra buff. So it's actually really, really neat.
In true polymorph too.
Yeah.
So if you want to make the guy a chicken, then make sure that he, well, you can't make him breathe fire, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like a holy chicken as he emits like this beautiful light.
A holy chicken. Yeah. All right, and now the last thing on here, this is the one you get a 14th level ability, and this is Focus Belief.
Yeah, so basically you're now immune to being charmed. And now whenever you cast a conjuration, illusion, or transmutation spell, you actually have advantage on the saving throw to maintain concentration. And then the other thing that you get at the end, which I almost missed actually, so from cantrips to second level spells, damage will no longer break your concentration.
I think that is like a good capstone ability for this.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it really pulls into the fact that you've been gifted, that you've been given these powers. There's nothing that's going to change your form in any way.
Yeah.
And it just makes you very solid at the end. And as a 14th level ability, I don't think that's overpowered. I think it works pretty well with what other warlocks get. And I think
and there's still a lot of great first and second level spells that are very useful. Even though you're at 14th level, there's still a lot of useful things that you can do with that ability. And like you said, the class is really well themed. It goes into a lot of defensive and support stuff.
Should we class-o-matic it?
And I was about to say, let's go ahead and go into that.
Duck again. Okay, there's class-o-matic. And again, higher on support only because it does all these different things you can do to your pets and the things that you summon. Damage is still pretty on par with a warlock.
Yeah,
cantrips, things like that. But it's got these little social things in there too. So this is more the defensive kind of work.
Right, yeah. And we're still awaiting the day where we finally see the tank one go up there on the class-o-matic. But no, really though, it really does solidify itself as a support defensive subclass, which is really great because, typically with the Warlock, the first thing I think of is maybe like the Celestial one that can heal, but a lot of Warlocks do kind of focus on, trying to make most of their very few spell slots or things like that.
It's a weird position to be in, right?
Yeah.
You make the most use of your spell slots, but get like 2.
Right, exactly.
You got that, and it's all cantrip-based spells, right? This one, obviously, the cantrips that you get and the spells that you get with this are very... I'm going to add assistance to this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. There's not really a lot of damage. I mean, you do get Moonbeam, which if you position it correctly, you can hit 4 people with.
Yeah.
But, it's things like that.
Yeah, it's really cool to see, even though this is a homebrew thing, it's basically kind of taking existing mechanics like, that in spellcasting or even simple game rules and just simply adding and modifying it to make it better and make this class specialize in concentration or buffing up, summons or things like that.
Right. So if you want to pick this up, you can pick this up on the DmsGuild. It's the Nyxborn. I think it's called Nyxborn, a Theros themed Warlock subclass by Chris here, and it's a fantastic thing. We've had Chris on the show.
Yeah, we actually do have a video interview of Chris when we were reviewing his GIF summary. So if you want to check that out, he's actually got a lot of things to say about creating homebrew stuff, and he's a really great guy. So be sure to check out that video if you get the chance.
Absolutely. Now we've got a contest going on, don't we?
Yes, we do. And if you want to know more about that, be sure to check our most recent video before this one. We reviewed Mythic Encounters, and we actually have a little giveaway with a trivia at the end of that video. So be sure to check that out if you want to get in on that. Right.
And next week on Sunday, well, this week at the end of this, we're going to be reviewing some Theros themed items as well.
Yeah. So in case you don't have enough monsters or enough subclasses, we're going to give you some items that you can now include in your Theros campaign. And you've got some stuff coming up too.
I do. We're going to start building a... well, I say Medusa. It's not Medusa.
Yeah, and
it's a Gorgon.
And there's a whole thing about that, but
But we're going to do in the Homebrew Help series, I'm going to build a new player race with you guys. I've gotten a lot of submissions of Medusans or a Medusa-like or this, that, whatever for Theros. And every single one of them just has little things that I would tweak. So I'm going to go through step by step in a 3-video thing on how to build a race, basically.
Yes, and make sure if you do want to catch up with our videos and things like that, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. You'll actually get a notification as soon as you get a video up there, and we do appreciate it whenever you get the chance. And as always, remember that the best campaigns are always the ones that are homebrewed. So until next time, keep brewing.